Okay, so this training is going to be on the indirect approach for inviting. I'm not going to go over the practice approach because you can read it. This is on page 17 of your CSP in your Comprehensive Success Packet. And the reason why I'm not going to go over the practice approach is because it's kind of similar actually to one of the responses in handling objections on the training on how to invite using the invite roadmap. It's in response to when people say, hey, no, I'm not really interested. You say, hey, no problem, but, can I still practice on you? Is essentially the gist of it. Now, two things I want to say about it before I talk about the indirect approach is when you sit down to actually practice your presentation with them, preface it with, okay, I'm going to be talking to you like you're a prospect, so that way they know how they should be taking a look at the business and why you're using the language that you are in your presentation. Now, at the end of the presentation, then you just get a referral and you ask, so who do you know who could benefit from this? And they'll give you a contact or maybe multiple, and that's still as valuable as if they got started because it's still opened up another network. Now, if they say, oh, I don't know anybody, and you just say, okay, well, if you did know somebody, who would it be? Then usually they'll give you someone, and that actually will, if you did know somebody. That is training from Grant Cardone, Danny Johnson, some of the top people in sales, and so it's really, really effective. Okay, now for the indirect approach, again, the opinion approach and the invite using the roadmap are my two personal favorites just because I've seen the highest conversion rate, and it's a really fast way to get people in front of the business, which is the name of the game, right? Momentum is created through massive exposure and speed of exposure. But indirect approach is also very nice because it's non-threatening, they don't feel like you're sharking them, and they don't feel like you're actively trying to recruit them. So you just say, this is kind of what it sounds like, and again, this is ideally over the phone, but if you want to message them, that's okay. But this is what it sounds like. So, hey, John, form them. There's a training on forming, family, occupation, recreation, and message. Anyways, the reason why I was calling was because I recently got connected with a few extremely successful people here in Dallas, and they're actually expanding a business, and, well, I wasn't looking, but that's pretty much what it sounds like. And they asked if I knew anyone who could potentially help them. And I know that you're completely satisfied with what you've got going on, with what you're doing, and that's totally cool. But who do you know who is open to making an extra few $1,000s this month, likes helping people, enjoys taking on a challenge and being the first to know about something? They're usually going to be like, well, I'd be open, or hello, me, right? And you say, oh, really? Well, which one of these applies to you? And they're like, well, I could use the few extra bucks, a few extra $1,000, never hurt anybody. Or maybe, I like helping people. Whatever, they're pre-qualifying themselves for you. Great. Well, when's the soonest you can get together for like an hour or so for coffee? Let's catch up. So I can explain a little bit more about the business project they're launching. And it's easier in person because it's 90% visual. And they get the appointment. Now, if they give you referrals, great, thanks so much. And if they hesitate to give referrals, and usually sometimes they'll be like, I want to know more about it before I refer over people, great, when's the soonest we can get together? Or even send them info. If I sent you info, when's the soonest you could check it out? Again, that's all in the invite roadmap. So that's it for the indirect approach, and I hope that this helped. I'll see you in the next training.